guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Excuse the new background. Obviously, if you can't tell, I am now in a different place when I'm filming. I actually have moved into uni, which is super duper exciting. So I'm still playing around with backgrounds and like good angles to film and stuff. I do have quite a nice big window, which is good. I'm not too sure about the lighting though, and like everything, all that stuff, but I do just really want to get this video up for you guys because it's already the 4th, I believe, when I'm filming this, and I do like to do a little what I read in the month every month, obviously. So today's video, obviously, as you can tell, we are doing a what I read in September video. I had a little bit of a slower reading month than normal in September. I was away for 2 weeks traveling, and when I'm traveling it kind of depends. Sometimes I'll be really wanting to read loads on the beach and stuff, and other times I just won't be, and this time I just really wasn't. I was doing a couple reading challenges, reading the longest books on my TBR, so I only brought those books with me, and some of them I wasn't too keen on, others I did really like, so it kind of went in ebbs and flows. And then I was really busy obviously preparing to go to uni, so we had a little bit of a slower reading month this month, but overall I did read some really good books. I had a 5-star read this month, which I was very pleased about. So I'm just going to get up my statistics because I always like to go through them. So I read 6 books this month, and I'll move over so you can actually see. I read 6 books this month and 3,119 pages. They were mainly emotional, reflective, light-hearted and hopeful. Not too sure what that means. 33% slow pace, 67% medium paced, and they were actually split completely evenly between 500 plus, 300 to 499 and less than 300 pages, which was kind of funny. All fiction, mainly contemporary romance, stuff like that as normal. 33% digital and 67% print. Again, that kind of tracks me. And I had a bunch of different ratings this month. Overall the average was 4.08, which I think is actually really high. I was very pleased with that. Obviously that's kind of indicative of a very good reading month, but yeah, nothing below a 3.25, which is pretty good, I'd say. And then you can see at the bottom kind of where my reading kind of fell across the month. This is a bit more accurate this month because I was actually logging it every day, whereas before I have been doing just kind of when I finish a book. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. So books I read this month, we are just going to go in chronological order because that is the way we normally do. As I've moved to uni, I didn't actually bring any of them with me because I didn't want to carry them around in my bag, so I just wanted to leave them at home, and then I will talk about them obviously here. So I will stick in the picture of the book, but unfortunately I just don't have them with me, which is annoying. But let me just get them up on my phone. So I started off this month by reading Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington, which I absolutely adored. I gave this one a full 5 stars, and I just thought this was an incredible book. I read this in a video reading the longest books on my TBR, and I was really glad that I actually did that video because I wouldn't have picked this book up otherwise. This is kind of, it's obviously a bit of a romance, but it's got a bit more than that. It's kind of a story about grief and loss and forgiveness and family and stuff like that, and I just thought it was really good. It was like 700 and something pages, but I didn't find myself getting bored at all. I was like constantly wanting to like read more and turn the page, and I didn't find it dull or anything. I feel like I really had that issue with Things We Never Got Over, which was the other long book that I'd read beforehand, a romance book. I felt like that just dragged, whereas this one I did not feel like that at all. I absolutely adored it. I would 100% recommend this one, and literally I got to the end and it had like 90% left, and then suddenly it said epilogue, and I was literally like, oh my god, like I do not want this book to end. I loved it. But then unfortunately the next 2 books that I read I didn't love quite as much. So the next one I fully finished was The Spanish Love Deception. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. I did think this was very cute. I really liked the couple. I liked Aaron Blackford. I thought he was so cute, and I love kind of guy falls first kind of trope. I thought this was a good mix of like The Hating Game and The Love Hypothesis. The Love Hypothesis I gave 5 stars. Hating Game I gave about 3. I felt like this was more like The Hating Game than The Love Hypothesis, but overall it was good. I did still enjoy it, and overall it was kind of a fun beachy read for me. I do feel like it dragged a little bit at some points, and I thought that the kind of conflict towards the end, I understand why it happened, like character wise, but it just felt annoying to me. I didn't feel necessary, and I feel like we could have just very well had them together and we didn't need that little, it wasn't even third act conflict, it was even further towards the end. It was a bit stupid. I didn't think that was necessary. Then I read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This was okay. I gave it a 3.75. I thought it was, obviously I know it's a slow burn, but I just kind of struggled to get into it, I can't lie. The last 30% I think it was great, amazing, I really loved it. It was basically about a girl who went to her hometown after a divorce, and her mum's gone missing when she was younger, and she wants to like redo the hikes that her mum did, stuff like that. I thought we were going to get a little bit more insight into the mum going missing. That was actually a really minor part of the plot, but I was kind of hoping, I thought that would be really interesting to develop more. But she meets this kind of grumpy guy, and it's the nice type of grumpy guy where he's not mean, he's just quite shy and not very chatty really. But obviously the other relationships in this book were really good, and overall the payoff with the romantic relationship I thought was really good, but I just don't know whether I'm like a full slow burn girly. I don't mind an insta love, actually, I can't lie, but it's nice to have a bit of a change of pace. I gave this a 3.75 rather than a 3.5, even though I probably enjoyed the Spanish Love Deception more, just because this felt a little bit more unique as a story. Like Spanish Love Deception I've read and will probably read like 1,000 times over in different books, but All Roads Lead Here I did find was a little bit different, which I enjoyed. Then we had The Circle by Dave Eggers. I also read this, these were all read for that video. This was actually really surprising to me. I just kind of randomly picked this up one time on Waterstones, and then I didn't really think too much of it. I wouldn't have read it if it wasn't for this video. Okay, it is the next day because my camera battery died, so I had to recharge it, and then I got super busy, so I couldn't finish filming this yesterday, but here we are today to polish this off. So I believe I was talking about The Circle, which I was super pleasantly surprised about. I thought this was so good and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a more dystopian book, and I was really pleased with it. I speak about this more in my reading the longest books on my TBR video, so I won't drone on about it here. If you want like in-depth opinions, that'll be linked in the cards from earlier. But overall I was just very pleasantly surprised. I had very low expectations, but I actually really enjoyed it. I really liked just the way the story went. I feel like it's a really interesting story about kind of like manipulation, kind of cult-like mentality, indoctrination, things like that, and I definitely think it applies more even now to society than when it was written, because it was written about 7 years ago or so. But I really liked it. I think I'm going to pick up the sequel because the library at my uni actually has the sequel. It's really big, and I don't know whether I'm going to find it repetitive, because I never got bored of the book, but I did find some parts started to get slightly repetitive, so I think I will just not buy it and pick it up from the library to give it a go. But overall I did enjoy it, and I had a great time reading it. It was really fun. So then the next book I read was actually for my reading the shortest books on my TBR video, which you guys have yet to see because I'm still working my way through that. But we had Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and I gave this one a 3.25. This is quite a viral book at the moment. It's basically like 4 short stories set in this cafe in Japan, where if you sit in a certain seat you can go back in time, but you only have until before the coffee gets cold, and you actually can't change anything in the past. So I think it was the first 2 stories in this I found okay, the third one I really liked, and then the fourth one was also okay. I was a little bit disappointed by this just because it's got so much hype, and I just kind of found it okay. It was quite cute at some points, but I really wish it kind of focused more on the actual back in time aspect. I feel like most of this story took place kind of introducing the characters that were going back in time, but I did like how it felt very homey. I think I really liked it, so I think I would still read the next book because I just really like the vibes, I like the characters, like I just like the kind of feel the book gave me. Very cozy, but overall it was a little bit disappointing. I gave this one 3.25. None of the stories really stood out as amazing to me. And then the last book I read this month was Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, who I believe wrote Convenience Store Woman, which is pretty popular at the moment. This one is less popular. This was actually insane. I gave this a 4.25 stars. I actually had a lot of fun reading this. Not fun all the time because it gets quite very dark at some points, but it was just very intriguing. It was very much a what the actual fuck is happening type of book. That's what I wrote in my review. It literally says 4.25, what the actual fuck was this. I really don't think I could actually describe the plot. It is insane. It's very dark, so definitely trigger warnings. I would say it's about a girl who believes that she is an alien from a different planet, and this is kind of like a coping mechanism for a lot of trauma in her life, and then the ending just is so deranged. like really, it's like insane. Like I really cannot describe it. I actually enjoyed it. I found it very intriguing. I like kind of really like what the fuck books. They're kind of one of my favorite genres. I don't know how you would describe it, maybe unhinged books, but I've had a lot of enjoyment reading this book. So overall I would recommend, but do kind of check that it's something you would like, maybe like trigger warnings, stuff like that. But yeah, that was the last book I read this month. So we didn't actually read too much, only 6 books this month, which is pretty low for me, but I'm now in uni and hoping to kind of get into the swing of like work-life balance type of thing and get some good reading done this month. Got some kind of like more autumnal reads on the, I guess, horizon for me, so do check out my TBR video, which should be out in a couple of days. But yeah, if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a like down below, hit subscribe and turn the bell to join our little club, and make sure you turn on all notifications, then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. If you want to watch my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as a link up in the cards from earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.